Hello, parents. Welcome to back to school night this year. And even though it's already been a wild ride with date changes and all of that, I'm so happy that you took the time to watch this video today and just kind of get to know about the reading intervention course that your students are in during 4A. My name is Mrs. Sherman. I recently got married, so some students know me as Holcomb or Miss Sherman. So, whichever one, I am the same person having slight identity crisis. So, before we begin about the class, just a little bit about me. I'm from Livermore, California. I went up to Sonoma State to get my bachelor's in English with an emphasis in single subject education. And I also minored in psychology. So, again, I recently got married this summer, hence the identity and name crisis. So, if your student calls me Holcomb or Sherman, it's the same person. I've taught at Windsor High for 5 years, and I have taught a few English classes that require a lot of scaffolding as it is. So I'm really able to adapt the curriculum in a way that a lot of students can understand. And I think that's one of my strong suits. And another strong suit is that I'm passionate about what I teach. I love having a fun classroom. I don't want some lame, boring classroom. So, whatever the lesson is for the day, I really try to pump up the students, get them excited, get them competitive, and have a good time. And that's kind of, the whole gist of what I hope that they are coming out of this class with is confidence. They're excited to come to this class and working on their skills. So that leads me to what the heck is reading intervention? It is a newer course here at Windsor High School, and it's been needed for probably more than 10 years. We are looking at, where the main goal for reading intervention is to help students master the 910 Common Core standards that California makes students be able to, well, where they should be when they move up to 11th and 12th grade, and to help them gain tools through writing tools, reading tools, listening tools that will help all of their classes. And we already had a discussion with with your children, and we already have made the connection that all of the tools and skills that we work on in this class will help them in all of their other classes. You always read in math and science and history, and you always have to listen in these classes, and you have to take notes, right? So it's all of these standards that they don't realize that they all connect, right? And so this is a mastery-based grading point system, and we will get into that in a little bit. And I also will send links with this presentation kind of explaining the philosophy behind standards-based grading instead of the regular point value. But I also want you to let you know that this is not a life sentence. It's not, they're in this for the rest of their high school careers. This could be a one semester course, a 2 semester course, it could be a third, but essentially, when the student hits mastery in all of the standards to our for our standards as a school, then they're out. Once they hit the mastery, which is technically a 4, and we'll go through the point system, they can exit out of this class. It's not a life sentence. And this class also falls under elective for the A through G requirement, so they are getting elective credits while they are in this class. So, how does placement work? You're like, how did my student get in here? There's 3 options. There was 3 ways. There was the middle school transition meeting where parents met with the counselors from the middle school. They talked about what type of courses they can have in high school, and that is also where they may have selected the reading intervention course. The second one is actually we have a few students that self-selected to take this class because they know that they may need to improve in some of their skill sets. And so students can self-select this class. And the third one, and mostly the most common, is the counselor selection slash recommendation. This is where counselors have looked at your students' past academics, targeted skills that other iReady tests that they've taken have shown. We've looked at their strengths and what we need to improve upon, and that allows me to figure out which tools each of our students need to be successful, because all students in our class have different goals. we're all different, right? So that is the 3 ways that your student has been placed in reading intervention. And so now, just real quick, getting into the difference of standards-based grading, and the mastery-based is, so really, we used to have the traditional point system, right? And your students might be familiar with it, right? So like they don't turn in an assignment a few times, and all of a sudden they have a D in the class, and their points just keep getting lower and lower, and then it's just a bigger hole to climb out of, and then they're stuck in this kind of pit of despair of like, I there's just so much for me to catch up on, and then I just give up, right? So what's so different about mastery based grading is that we use a 4-point scale: 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The only way that a student can fail this class is by not turning in any work. Because if there's no work, I can't grade their standards and where they are. I can't grade their tool set. So essentially, there's these levels that your student will be working through, and these are different levels for each standard. So one is a beginner. And so, how I explained it to the students on the first day, and we have a lot of sports players in our class, and I explained football, and I asked, were you guys good at football right when you were little? And they're like, no, right? I was a 0, right? I was a 1, I was a beginner. And I told them, it's because you had to practice your skill set. It's all about practice. So this class is all about them practicing these tools to enhance their own abilities to move from a 1 to a 4. So 1 is beginner, 2 is where they're meeting the basic standard, 3 is where they're proficient, where they're starting to apply their knowledge with assistance. And then when they hit a 4, they are the masters of the universe with the tools. They're going to be able to use their annotation skill set that they learned in science class without even being told, because everything they learn in this class can help them in other classes. And so that's kind of where we're at. And a really big thing that students really liked is, say that I graded an assignment and it went under vocabulary and they got a 1, and that's fine. But what they can do is that they can retake it back, work on it using the skill sets that they're learning, turn it back in for a higher number of it's, and I don't want to call it a grade. I would rescore their skill set. Maybe they just bumped to a 2, and I'll change their grade to a 2 in that category. So they can always return in work, but it has to be quality, right? It can't just be like, oh, I just tried on this worksheet and I kind of gave you a BS response, right? No, 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 no. It's all about quality. So really trying their best and being honest with themselves about, ooh, okay, I'm a 1 in writing, I'm a 2 in listening, I'm a 4 on this, right? And so we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and they will all set their own individual goals, trying to move them from a 1 or a 2, wherever they may be, to a 4 so they can exit out. And how Jupiter grades work, so we are on Jupiter, it's divided into 4 categories. And if you notice over here, it's from 0 to 4, 0 meaning not submitted. And that means that that's, again, the only way they can fail the classes is they don't give me anything. And the categories is word study, because that's a part of our common standards. So how is their vocabulary? Are we practicing vocabulary, adding new words to our vocabulary? Language fluency, which is their ability to read, and then also along with how quickly can they read, also how quickly can they make connections. Then we have vocabulary. So vocabulary is big. We got to start adding in new 9-10 vocabulary, adding to our skill set. And then comprehension, right? So we will be reading a book this year, The Distance Between Us by Reina Grande. And, just having them answer prompts and finding the main themes, that's comprehension, right? So that's kind of the categories of how we're looking at their skills. And if you notice, academic and engagement and practice is 0 points, because practice should just be practice. And just like a sport, the more you practice, the better you get. So it's not a scary thing in this class, right? So that's how the grades will work. So again, My main goal is to support and build academic skill sets that will be valuable in all of their current and future classes, building their confidence, having a good time, and making a really good connection with the school. If you have any questions at all about grades, about any check in, you can always email me. My email is right here. If you have further questions, I will also be sending with this announcement the Zoom link for this evening. And the for you for this class for reading intervention, your Zoom time to ask questions will be from 6:40 to 7. So the last 20 minutes of our back to school night. Also, if you can't make it, always feel free to send me an email. I'm always happy to answer. And I hope that your students come back to you and start, having positive experiences. I hope that they're starting to get excited. And it's not, it's process, right? We're learning and practicing a new skill. It's standards based. We're not in the point system. It's all about practicing, building our confidence, and then we will slowly see the progress in other classes. I also forgot to mention that I've already made a promise to the students. There is no homework in this class unless they miss something, because I never want this class to be a more of a hinder than all of their other classes. Also, on the last A or B day of the week, wherever it lands on, we dedicate an hour of homework time where they actually log what they're working on. I check in with them, check in with their standards, see how their other classes are going, because I'm also another helper in that aspect. So I hope that this was informational, and I hope to see you guys later this evening, and have an amazing rest of your day.